Hi guys, my name is Motolani Alake and this is Facts Only.
So Tolani, the last big controversy in the Nigerian music industry was on Sunday, over the weekend. Cynthia Morgan and Jude Okoye, the contract about the Northside Entertainment, when she was signed there, she claimed that they took her name and all that. What's the general view and what is the history of the working relationship between Cynthia Morgan and Jude?
So there are three people involved in this entire drama. One, Tongo, two, Cynthia Morgan, and three, Jude Okoye. Then there is a non-natural entity behind the deal called Northside Entertainment. Northside Entertainment is owned by Jude Okoye, who is also known as Engis Okoye. And the entire drama started about 10 or 11 years ago. Cynthia Morgan dropped her debut single in 2009. But that debut single didn't really catch fire like the feature she had on Jibo's song in 2009. The song is titled Ejole Fero. Everybody wanted to know Cynthia Morgan after that song dropped because she was so charismatic. She had an effortless swagger about how she was delivering the songs, the verses on the songs, and everybody thought, who is this girl? After then, she got some buzz, and a year later, Tongo, who was the road manager for P-Square at the time, and who still does some work for Burna Boy and Yemi Alade, got to know Cynthia Morgan. Cynthia Morgan, word on the street, or according to my sources, she started vying to be managed by Tongo.
She asked for it?
Yes, she asked for it. And Tongo was a very, very connected person. She was involved with the process of bringing the BT ciphers to Nigeria with Laura Brampton and everything at the time. And she still does, like I said, she still does some work for Yemi Alade and Burna Boy. So around 2011, Tongo signed Cynthia Morgan to our management company called J-Ton Productions.
J-Ton Productions, okay.
So in 2013, Tongo had a way to fly Cynthia Morgan from Nigeria to the US, and they met Jude Okoye. Tongo drafted a contract. She drafted Cynthia Morgan's contract, and Jude Okoye signed Cynthia Morgan at the time. So that was basically what it was.
That was how they met. Yeah. How was the working relationship? How much investment did Jude Okoye put into Cynthia Morgan? How many singles did she release? I know she didn't release an album.
Yeah.
Tell us about the working relationship.
The working relationship so this entire drama started when Cynthia Morgan, she has left Lagos, according to my sources, that she lives in Benin now, where she grew up. So she was on a radio station in Benin at the time, on a TV show actually in Benin, where she was talking about a lot of things at the time. She even name-checked Jude Okoye, name-checked Tongo, talked about how she had been depressed and now she couldn't use her name, and now she was forced to change her name from Cynthia Morgan to Madrina. Jude Okoye and Tongo didn't want to talk at the time because they felt maybe there was no point. But then the second time she did it, on an IG conversation with a woman called Vanessa Ogebo. From what I've gathered, right, Tongo put her life and her soul and her body into managing Cynthia Morgan. She put everything into it, and even to a point where Cynthia Morgan started giving her a tough time for it. She didn't quit until about 3 years after, and after she suffered the loss in her family and everything, that was why she had to leave. Jude Okoye invested, I know as a matter of fact, and from the things I've researched, that Jude Okoye invested almost 40 million in Cynthia Morgan. He shot 9 quality videos for her, and he spent at least 3 million naira on each video. All those things I was saying, they are not lies. As a matter of fact, I spoke with someone who is close to Clarence Peters, who told me that it is a fact. They spent a lot of money on that girl. And as a matter of fact, they even had to work on her branding. So the first single she released under Northside Entertainment was I Wanna Be With You, Don't Break My Heart. Yeah. It was against her brand. Yeah. It was not as regards the brand that she had. It wasn't tough enough. So they had to switch her brand to this bad girl image that was singing in patois, even song rapping at some point, going in and with a vim and a zen to her. So the entire thing worked in her favor, and then everything started working for Cynthia Morgan. Then we had I'm Taken, which was a huge song. She started working with Tony Rosto at the time. Yeah. I'm Taken was huge. That was what catapulted her from C to B.
So what then happened? Where did everything go wrong?
So everything started going wrong when Cynthia Morgan started gaining popularity and fame. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Cynthia Morgan started disturbing Joy Tongo, started treating Joy Tongo badly. As a matter of fact, what I heard is she was living in Joy Tongo's house at the time.
Yeah.
And there was even a time that Cynthia Morgan was shooting a video and the video director in Nigeria had to tell her that you should stop smoking on my set because it was terrible. Her attitude was terrible. Then she also told Jude Okoye that she wanted to change her name from Cynthia Morgan to Madrina because Madrina represents a brand and it has some Jamaican roots in patois and the religion, that's the Ethiopian religion. So everything started going pear-shaped when Joy Tongo left in 2016. That was when everything started.
Joy Tongo left Cynthia Morgan and Jude to start working together and left the whole
she left on
situation.
Yes.
Okay. Why did she leave? Was it because of the way Cynthia Morgan was treating her?
It was a combination of a lot of things. She suffered, like I said, she suffered a loss in her family at the time. And also she was fed up.
Okay. What was the reason behind just you changing your name while you have seen success, you've gotten a lot of traction, you moved from C-list to B-list, and all of a sudden you want to change a huge factor like your name? What happened?
Well, but I guess we have to ask Cynthia Morgan for the impressions and the inspiration behind whatever it was whatever the reason was that she wanted to change her name.
Yeah.
But what Jude Okoye told Tunde Ednut was that she felt Madrina represents some form of motherly figure in the Rastafarian movement. So she decided she wanted to change her name to Madrina, but Jude Okoye kept stopping her. You can't change your name. This is what people know you as. It's going to be counterproductive in the long run. But then, after she left, she changed her name. She changed her name to Madrina.
So after changing her name from Cynthia Morgan to Madrina, did she leave the Northside Entertainment?
No, she hadn't changed her name to Madrina before she left Northside Entertainment.
So leaving Northside, was she released or she just left on her own?
When she was with Northside, she started kicking up a fuss that she wanted to leave. The contract was a 4-year contract. Her contract had expired. It was a 4-year contract with an option for another 2 years. She signed the contract in 2013. She left in 2017. Her contract was done. She didn't have a contract anymore with Northside Entertainment. The option for 2 years, she chose not to take it, and Jude chose not to take it because she didn't want to take it up. So you can't force someone. A contract only happens when two parties are agreeing on the terms of a contract to come into a contract by themselves. You can't force anybody. If you force anybody to go into a contract, there's going to be a contract under duress. It's going to be a void contract. Then it's not going to happen. At least it's going to be voidable. So Jude Okoye did not want to force her. He did, as a matter of fact, he had to be compelled to sign her in the first place after what he saw with Mehdi. So after Joy Tongo left, there was no bridge between he and Cynthia Morgan again. So he decided to say, look, I'm done. You are free to go on your own. That was when Cynthia Morgan changed her name to Madrina. It's a lie that she had a brand or whatever, it was in her contract, that's why she changed her name. That's all lies. Because the contract wasn't even subsisting at the time.
Okay. So now that she's Madrina, she released a couple of records.
Yeah, she released a couple of
Madrina. Who was funding that? Was it independent?
She was an independent artist, at least to the best of everybody's knowledge. She might have had an investor, nobody knows about that. I don't know about that. She did not make it public, but she was doing it on her own until things crashed. She decided to move back to Benin.
So why is she now doing this? Why do you think she's doing this? Coming to claim that they took her name. She's been a victim of oppression, in the contract.
Nigerian artists are some of the most dishonest and toxic people you will ever meet in life. That's a fact. These are people who will get revenue from show performances and not want to remit it, despite having a subsisting contract with record companies. These are people who will sign split sheets and get deals behind their companies' backs. These are people who will blatantly refuse to submit to the terms of a recording contract. There's a record of it. Everybody wants to do something. They forget the times that the label took them up from dirt and put them in homes and gave them cars and all of that. They forget all those things. They forget all the times that the label was pumping money on their videos and was doing everything. And they also forget that Nigerian entertainment industry is very dysfunctional. And the only way labels can make their money is by exploiting artists in some way. That is the problem with Nigerian artists. So since Cynthia Morgan came out and said all those things, it was very tough for a lot of people who knew the inside information about the Nigerian music industry to believe her.
Okay. Playing the devil's advocate here, don't you think there's a part of that contract that stops Cynthia Morgan from using that name or something? There's something holding her. Do you think she's blatantly lying?
From the terms that we saw in the contract, there was no place in a recording contract drafted by Jude Okoye and on the letterhead of Northside Entertainment that precludes her from using her name in the past, in the present, or in the future. Number one, Cynthia Morgan is her name. However, if she was using the name when she joined the label, like if your personal name is going to be your stage name, then the label has a prerogative. It is not compelled. It's not obliged. A prerogative to say, look, we can control the use of this name and the image rights that you have as regards this name. Because if we don't do it on a 360 deal, then you can just waltz out on your own and get endorsements and go to shows and get money on the strength of that name. So as much as a company cannot hold your name, a company can hold your name, which is your birth name, to the extent of that name being your stage name in a 360 deal, because the company has to protect its own investment. However, the concept of image rights are very simple. Image rights simply relates to the use of a particular name as regards products, merchandise, and other forms of income generating avenues, right? So, image rights simply relates to trademarks, copyrights, and passing off. That is the long and short of it. So, for example, if you are going to get a contract from Glow, your image rights are going to be involved. They are going to be endorsed by MTN. Your image rights are going to be involved. It's just like when Mendes or Gestifute, the football agents, when they go out to South America, sign players and bring them to the Portuguese league and then take like 20-30% of their image rights. It's an investment because they know that they are playing into the potential of the player that in 2 or 3 years, companies are going to be coming for you. So they are going to pay you up front for your image rights. So whatever you get from those deals, they are going to get them back. It also relates to normal football players. Before they sign to certain countries and clubs, they register IRCs, image rights companies. The image rights companies are the ways they can get their money from some of these ventures aside football. However, they now use the IRCs as ways for their wages to be paid wages to be paid to them. Because why? For example, in England, taxing for players is about 45%. But if you pay into your IRC, it reduces to about 19%. Because for these reasons, the image rights of public figures and celebrities is important. It's important to safeguard them. So if you're an investor in a particular footballer or a public figure, a celebrity or an artist, it is imperative that you have some form of rights in their image rights, or else you are going to be playing yourself in the long run.
Okay. So, but after the contract has expired, is that still?
No, it was never even on when the contract was subsisting. Never. There was no term in that contract that states that you, Cynthia Morgan, will not be able to use this name after you leave our label, because she had been using that name before she joined them. The company has no right. It's not even about people were so people had two problems on social media. People were saying you can't hold an artist image right. People were also saying you can't hold a name that parents gave to her. No, you can't hold that name. You can't hold that from using the name to register for a bank. You can't hold the name you can't preclude Cynthia Morgan from using Cynthia Morgan to register for light bills. You can't preclude that. You can't preclude her from using the name to buy a house. But you can preclude her to use that name in the purview of her being an artist and the benefits that come from being an artist. You can. However, you cannot have rights to that name. You can have it for throughout the subsistence of the entire contract. However, you can't hold it beyond the subsistence of that contract.
So now the contract is over. There's no conversation about that.
Even during that time, Cynthia Morgan was using Cynthia Morgan before she joined Northside Entertainment. So they could never control the way she was using it. However, they could control her image rights and trademarks. Because your trademark is how you're going to get this, you're going to get that, endorsements, you're going to get the face of a makeup brand, bidding, whatever. That's it.
What are the lessons for Nigerian music industry from this drama?
Number one, the Nigerian artists, Nigerians are never going to stop being empathetic towards artists. It's the reality of things. Because Nigerians gravitate towards the concept of the underdog. And as long as that happens, we are never going to see the end of this because artists are always going to come out to say this. But then I learned something from a rapper once and said, there are always two sides to conversations. Because the artist gets to a point where he also, maybe 2 or 3 years into the contract, he also understands that, oh, man, this money I can be making it on my own. But then you have a contract with the label. So when the artist, you have a contract with the label. So when the artist comes out and starts saying things, people are not going to look towards the label. They are going to demonize the label in the eyes of the people. That's just the reality. But I would like a world where Nigerians look and wait for the truth before they judge situations and not just gravitate towards the artist because the artist comes out and plays the victim. I also think label heads and a lot of people should start publicly declaring some things, some facts. When an artist leaves you, release a statement or a joint statement, whatever, and release that, oh, these are the things, blah, 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 blah. And when an artist starts messing up, labels should also normalize coming to the public to talk about it. This is what my artist is doing. Don't wait. If the artist beats you to it, it's all over for you in the public eye. Till now, even with the facts that have been out, a lot of people are still in my mentions talking about why Cynthia Morgan was cheated and they don't care about what Northside did because label heads are demons and they are terrible people. So I think those are the two major lessons. And I would like people to understand the concept of image rights. That's all.